The program was also reportedly working on how to make an invisibility cloak, travel through wormholes, and even build a mine on the moon using nuclear weapons. As far as we know, none of those things ever happened, or did they? I'm joined by two people who know all about UFO sightings and possible government cover-ups. Ben Hansen is a former federal agent, a paranormal expert, and the host of the Discovery Plus show, UFO Witness. And Nick Pope is one of the world's leading experts on UFOs, the unexplained and conspiracy theories. He investigated UFOs for the British government. Thank you both for joining me. Ben, I want to start with you. There's so many videos out there, Ben, that we see. It seems like every day there's something else posted to social media. Someone sees something in the sky. How many of these sightings do you think can actually be explained, like they're actually satellites or some kind of military experience? What percentage do you think can be explained versus might actually be a UFO?
I would say it's pretty safe to say 95% or more of them can be explained. The lead-in videos that you showed, it was great because that's a great mix. It's kind of indicative of what people see. A lot of people don't know the Starlink satellites. They don't know what sky lanterns look like. They don't know like flares. And so 95% is kind of what Project Blue Book concluded as well, that those can be explained. But the fact that we now have billions of cell phone cameras out there, billions. Some points that Neil made are pretty salient. However, what he fails to mention is that even though cell phone cameras have reached a level of technology far beyond than just 5 years ago, it's really hard to take an in-focus, framed up video that is quality at nighttime, especially. So when you're thinking of the scenario we want that smoking gun of the, UFO landing on the White House lawn, and then we're going to put it, all over social media. How many people do you think that will still not convince that this actually happened? And then that's kind of the catch-22 we have with technology.
Right, and no matter what you catch on your phone, people will immediately think it was doctored or something like that. One thing that has struck out to me, Nick, I want to ask you about is these unexplained pregnancies. That has come up in these reports. That really caught my eye. Tell me, what's that about?
Well, there's no getting away from the fact that the government has, for the last few years, been studying a whole load of what I would call weird stuff. And absolutely, those reports are out there. They're in the public domain. But I think sometimes, we concentrate on those kind of reports. They sound a little quirky. And I don't know if they're true or not. The things that interest me more, though, are the accounts where we have these things tracked on military radar systems, recorded on forward-looking infrared cameras, and also picked up on military satellites, as confirmed by former Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, for example. And the Office of the Director of National Intelligence released a report on all this last summer, where they basically said, we don't know what's going on. So yeah, we have these strange reports. Some of them sound like they come straight out of the X-Files, but the kind of uncomfortable truth is that everything that sounds like science fiction and conspiracy theory, someone in government has been looking at it.
Yeah, I think that's what's so interesting is the way the conversation has changed really in the last 5 years, it feels like. Again, from conspiracy theories to now the government actually admitting and releasing reports that they've taken this stuff seriously too. Ben, do you think that there could be people out there that see things, that record things, that experience things, that are still afraid to come forward because they're afraid people will judge them and sort of just think that they're crazy?
Oh, absolutely. It has gotten a lot easier in the past couple of years for people to talk about it, but the stigma still is very heavy, especially like within military pilots. That was one of the points that the congressional report made, was that they need to look at the Navy specifically has to look at the reporting and remove this stigma. Because, back in the day, it could have cost you your job or worse to come out and talk about this. There was no formal reporting system. So now that people know, hey, I'm in the military, I'm in law enforcement, it's in pop culture, it's okay to talk about, I can go forward and not be necessarily ridiculed or lose my job over this. And so that's the main concern. Secondly, I'd like to see a lot more people, maybe even a presidential directive to say, an executive order that says, okay, let's get to the bottom of it. Anyone who comes forward to blow the whistle, you will not be prosecuted. We want to know what the government knows. And like Nick had mentioned, that's the frustration. They've been working in secret on these programs they've denied they've been in the business of doing for decades. And then only recently that we find out, oh yeah, you were investigating UAPs for all this time, and we're just now finding out.
Yeah, and you can understand why, say, a military pilot would be nervous to come forward. I wouldn't want to lose their job or have their, colleagues think that they, are basically nuts. I understand why some people would keep it to themselves. Nick, based on what you know, and you've studied this so extensively, I mean, do you believe that aliens have visited Earth?
Well, the bottom line is we don't know. I think there is some intriguing evidence, but I'm the first to say there's no definitive smoking gun proof. And that's precisely why for example, the new defense bill, we have now multiple UFO provisions because Congress is saying to the Department of Defense, to the intelligence community, to the military, these things are in our airspace. They are being seen by our pilots, tracked on our radar. They're coming very close to our multi-billion-dollar strategic assets. We need to find out what it is. And that's why I hope that going forward, we're going to find some answers to what, after all, could be one of the most big and profound questions we can ask ourselves as human beings. Are we alone or not in the universe?
Yeah, wouldn't it be amazing to actually get an answer? Ben, they've released reports recently, the government, and we've been able to see some of those reports. But how much do you think still exists out there that has not been released? Do you think most of it is still classified and we haven't been able to see it?
That's a great question. It's actually kind of tough because a lot of people want to believe that the government officials answering these FOIA requests and responding to congressional reports that they actually have more information available. I personally have really no evidence to back this up. Just anecdotally, I believe that if there's a secret keeping group, it's very small, and that you're talking to the front office people and they're asking the higher ups, they may actually not have any more of the gold mine information than we've already been provided. Now, some of it's going to be classified. The smoking gun type of thing could have been outsourced to private industry decades ago, and it would be really hard. And they could honestly come forward and say, yeah, we really have all of the information, all the files. We don't have any more to disclose. The real danger, though, is that somebody does, right? Somebody, and now the government's finally taking this seriously because of the implications. It is a national security threat. And so the balance is, well, how much do you as a personal citizen, and how much are we privy, or should we be privy to, as far as knowing, because this is a universal secret, does it just pertain to the government? But the promising thing is, finally, I think we're hitting a turning point. We're seeing academia. In fact, I'm doing my master's thesis right now on contact and what would happen, the implications, at Georgetown, and they didn't laugh. So this is great that we're finally having these conversations.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to think about, and it's so interesting that real information has now come out from the government to sort of back a lot of this up. It's sort of mind-blowing. Ben Hansen and Nick Pope, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.